Hello. Hello? Hi everyone, thank you for attending this event today. Aren't you glad to have someone as prestigious, a world-leading quantum physicist like Mr. Amit Goswami here with us today? Everyone, let's give a big round of applause for him. Thank you, Mr. Goswami, for being here with us today. So, at times, I have questions. What is this world? How does it work at the fundamental particle level? Am I just a body, or am I a soul? Where is the soul? Is the world created by thought, or is thought created by the world? Finding answers to these questions are extremely important, and today we are able to do that through physics, specifically quantum physics. Quantum physics has challenged many minds, such as Einstein, Heisenberg, Hawking, even Deepak Chopra, Michio Kaku, and Advaita philosophers. Philosophers can now even share the dyes with physicists, discussing the very roots of life. These roots of life are planted by some seeds, and today's event is a seed of thought and quantum physics. I would now like to invite Dr. Goswami to please take a seat on the dais, and I would like to invite Honorable Council Member Mr. Rishi Kumar to commence the event and welcome great scientist Dr. Amit Goswami. Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Please commence the program.
No. You are doing wonderful. Why did you stop?
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, it's an absolute delight to have Dr. Goswami with us, his presence here in Saratoga. And it's a wonderful learning opportunity for each of us to see the intersection of science, quantum physics, consciousness, spirituality. I think I was asking Dr. Goswami, what the intention of the conversation is, and as a true speaker, as a true scientist, he basically said, let the audience define what it's going to be. So hopefully it will be a pretty interactive session. But I did want to say that for me, as part of all the efforts that I'm involved in, you look at community working in high tech and in the world of politics and trying to be of service and making something good happen for our local community here, whether it's fighting to lower our water charges or to ensure that crime dips in Saratoga in comparison to year-to-year growth that it has experienced. Much of it takes a lot of effort and engaging with the community, sending out the communication, the messages to ensure that we are all on track. But a huge component of my life has been about a search, a spiritual search. I've been to Arunachala. I spent time in the ashram of Ramana Maharishi. So when people ask me, I see a lot of different activities. What's that one activity that is really what you are looking to do in this world? And that's I'm a speaker, first and foremost. And when I look at the reservoir of knowledge that our Rishi Munis from the ages back had, without a telescope, they all knew about Mars and Jupiter because that state of consciousness was so very advanced. It was so advanced. They knew about science that we are only discovering now. And that really brings to us, it reinforces the value that when we have spirituality as a key component of science, then we can advance a lot more faster, quicker, faster, and better. I think we are sort of in a journey, we are exploring the world of science, but really the acceleration is going to happen when we can actually leverage the whole study of human consciousness in terms of how we perceive the world, how we interact with the world, and the world outside of planet Earth. So that's really what is near and dear to me in terms of exploring that aspect. And essentially when that happens, when we see ourselves as much more than who we are, much more than planet Earth, I think we can do a lot more good in this world in essentially helping each of us. Because when we look at, I've read some books where these, we are asked, what is the true purpose of life? And the true purpose of life is what I've heard, what I've read, is to be of service and to love others, and everything else kind of pales in comparison to that. And that realization will only happen, I think, based upon a search, based upon a spiritual study based upon having that component for our life, along with obviously staying true, grounded in this world, contributing in our own way. So that's my view. And once again, delighted to have you, sir. And thank you for organizing it. One of my interns, and he was involved with the July 4th celebration. He's got some very good ideas about safety in San Ramon. So very strong leader, and I really like the talk, the way you kicked it off. So thank you again. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chief. Thank you, Mr. Goswami, for giving this talk and being here with us today.
There's one more thing.
Oh, I have.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. It's not
Thank you.
wonderful. I think the biggest question that people probably ask me is why does quantum physics have anything to say about consciousness? Okay, can you hear me better? Yes?
Yes.
Good. So what I was saying is that the connection is not so obvious. What does physics have to do with consciousness? The answer to that actually goes back to the history of quantum physics. Is there anyone who is scared of quantum physics? I know he is. He's very good already.
Out of sight, out of mind. I said out of sight, out of mind.
That, of course, is true of anything, not just quantum physics. Well, I think people are a little bit scared because they hear this word and the word obviously means very obvious, I think. It means little things. Little. Quantum is the littlest thing possible that you can imagine of which energy and matter are made of. So it's elementary particle, that's what we call it. If matter is divided, it's like chop, 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 chop. And if energy is divided, you get this quantum. That was the original idea. But the idea is much more than that. And that was revealed 5 years later when the famous Einstein, who was really the biggest original thinker in the 20th century, he realized that this is a far-reaching idea because he realized that light, which has been known to be a wave for a couple of centuries already, ever since the days of Newton. Because Newton and Huygens had a big debate about if light is particle or light is wave. And Huygens won that debate. Now this idea is that light consists of particles, quantum, little bits of things. Why is it so revolutionary to say that something can be both wave and particle? Because you all know, waves spread out. If you create a water wave by throwing a bubble in the pond, what happens? The wave spreads and spreads and spreads, becoming bigger and bigger, like compressed. That's what happens. Particle, even if I throw it, it occupies one little space at a time, just like in a trajectory. How can the same thing be both? The implications people refused to believe at that time, just as they refuse to believe today. This is why many people say, even famous people, like Richard Feynman, one of the most famous of the 20th century physicists, he himself said in his great books, Feynman Lectures in Physics, nobody understands quantum physics. Where did that come from? The reason is people don't understand this, the implication of this thing, or more likely not understand it, because obviously Feynman is one of the finest intellect that ever existed. So it's not that he couldn't understand it, it's just that he couldn't accept it. Towards the end of his life, maybe a little bit. People cannot accept the implication of it. And this implication is what we are here to talk about. And this implication is so important that once you hear about it, your life should not be the same. I mean it literally. The implication is to be reached this way. Obviously, they cannot be objects, wave particles in the same domain of reality, right? Should be obvious. This is the first thing that physicists try to hide. I literally mean that. They lie to people. False news started with quantum physics. They lied to people saying that no, these are complementary qualities of objects. But of course, when the quantum equations were discovered, so there is a 25-year period, the idea of quantum was created in the year 1900. In the year 1925, Heisenberg discovered the equation of quantum physics, and next year Schrödinger gave it a form that everybody identified better with. And that form especially made it very, very clear that we are talking about waves, but these waves are waves of possibility. What does that mean? That means the following very simple thing. And try to understand this and visualize it. Once you do, you will have absolutely no problem for judging for yourself of how revolutionary quantum physics really is.